All right. I got my buddy Greg here. He used to own the truck. Let me move this closer. I wanted to have a little sit down and introduce everybody to Greg, the original builder of this truck.
Yep.
This is who owned it. This is who made it happen. When did you get it?
Oh, 2009, 2010, something like that.
I want to say something like that. This is a long time ago.
Yeah, it was huge.
It was 8-inch all spring lift.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, it was a big old truck.
And then we decided to turn it into a rock crawler.
He called me and he's like, hey, I want to build a rock crawler. And I was like, all right, what do we use it? And he's like, the old Brown Chevy. It didn't turn any heads, but it was a completely original truck, like totally straight.
Very little rust. And it had one little dent right in the middle of the hood.
Which it still has. You can't get rid of the hood. The hood's like,
yep.
That's the one dent that was still on the truck when we started. Like I said, these dents right here, this guy and this guy, those are the original dents in this truck. Everything else, it was completely straight. So this is the roll bar out of my old black Jeep that I had. So this is a CJ7 aftermarket roll bar right here. And then the rear axle is a Dodge Dana 80. That's out of my white dually. We put the steps on, the chain steps. That was for Lisa to get into it.
Yep.
Make it easier for Lisa to get in.
Yep.
And they just
rode in at once.
Yeah, they just work so good.
I had this big old plan in my head. And then I called him up one weekend and I was like, hey, Rory, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, just sitting at the house. And he's like, you want to come down to the junction and we'll start building the rock crawler.
It was funny. So originally it was a 1-ton truck. It's always been a 1-ton truck. But when he got it, it had a Dana 44 in the front.
Right.
Somebody had stole the 60 out. And so I was like, well, the biggest thing is if you're going to have a Dana 44 in the front, you got to lose weight. I show up and he's got the bed off, got the saws all out. He's ready to cut the frame. He's going to move the axle. I was like, oh, he's serious. We shortened it up. We shortened the rear end, took the bed off, did all that. And it still had the whole front clip for a while.
Yeah.
As he started wheeling on harder trails, it was like, I can't see what's going on. I was like, we got to lose more. Like, gotta lose body. We pulled the whole front clip and everything off. And then I had remnants of a chassis. That's where we built the radiator bar and then just those underhood stringers. We cut the hood. I built the fenders. When I built these fenders, I built them to that cut we made originally.
The doors got pretty well trashed. It was a super clean truck when I first got it. And then it turned into this.
And then things happened.
And then
some rocks got in the way.
Yeah.
But the very first recovery this ever did was actually getting my Toyota. I had a Toyota and I jumped it one too many times and broke the ball joint. And so we took this out and jacked up the Toyota and chained it to the bumper.
And then Rory built the pole for the backup. Well,
I built that just screwing around, but it was mostly just to move stuff around the house.
Yeah.
But then when I first moved here, my buggy wasn't running. And I wheeled this with the shop. And I pull up and he's like, so this is your crawler, huh? But then we wheeled for the day and we did Green Day, Lockjaw, and Eldorado. And we went in there and after the end of the day, he was like, this thing wheels. I'm like, yeah, it'll go. Yeah. I don't know why it will, but it will. Plus, like I said, I discussed it with my ex-wife about moving back here and making an off-road recovery business. But this wasn't even in my mind at all. It was my buggy. Because my buggy had the welder and the air compressor and all the stuff on it. And I was always doing trail repairs and recoveries and fixes with the buggy because I was like, that was my rig and that's what I was focused on. I've always loved this truck, and that's like I said, when you wanted to sell it, I was like, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need out of it? What do you want? What do we got to do? Because if somebody would have bought it, they would have stripped it and this thing would be sitting somewhere or in the scrapper. And I was like, no. I'll keep it around. I'll keep it around. I never envisioned this. This was not my plan. And so I started building it, but my whole plan was to build this the same way you started. Was like, you wanted a rat rod truck, so I'm like, I'm going to keep that theme going. So I hope I did you right.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah.
It was a bear to turn because it was welded differentials, front and rear. So there was no give, and it was everything you had to turn it when it was in 4-wheel drive.
And it rode so horrible. Bad.
There was no weight to it. And it had those giant arch springs. We pulled leaves out of it, and it didn't help.
No. No.
It rode so bad. There was always trouble shifting the transfer case. But it had 2 different size tires on it. It had 37s and 38s. I put matching tires on it out on Hell's Revenge. I was driving along, and it would push the front end. And that's when I found out it had 410s and 373s.
That would do it.
We went and did a recovery this morning, so you actually got to ride in it for a while and check it out. What do you think? From what it was to what it's become?
It's amazing how much better it is. Right, you can actually cruise around in it. It's nice.
It was funny because this morning he's like, "So we need the gooseneck," and I'm like, "No, we're just gonna drive it." And he's like,
Just when I had it, you did not take it down the road.
You did not want to drive it down the road.
No.
It was very scary.
It was very scary.
It was super funny because we went out and rescued an electric vehicle, so the Rivian, and we went out with probably the least fuel efficient vehicle made, a big block Chevy, to go rescue the most fuel efficient vehicle made.
Yep.
Okay, as we're getting further into here, me and Greg are questioning the reasoning behind bringing any stock vehicle into here, like completely stock. I can see a stock Wrangler, maybe a Rubicon, you know, because it comes factory with lockers. Maybe a Toyota, like TRD. I don't really trust IFS, but maybe. I don't know. I'm all about adventure, but there's a fine line between adventuring and just risking your life. Can't change what the truck is. And everybody, I see that in the comments all the time, like, well, now that you're painting blue and now that you painted the buggy, are you going to paint the wrecker? I'm not ever painting this truck. It looks exactly how I want it to look. Because when you had it, you were like, I want to go with a rat rod style rock crawler. And I'm like, okay, so when I started building this, I built this because Greg had a vision and I tried to go with it. You guys haven't seen a couple idiots with a death wish, have you?
Appreciate it, thank you.
According to theory, this should work.
Right along, guy.
So these are these aftermarket for Broncos?
Yeah. Yeah, Bronkbuster is the company that makes them. Ah, should be all right. Should. say, like always, I can't guarantee this for highway driving, and there's not really any adjustment to fix toe or whatever, and this thing knows every direction a wheel's pointed, so it might not like it. Keep going, keep going. Good right there. Perfect, but they fit. Yeah, like I said, that's welded together on the inside, and then the bronc buster clamps around the outside, so it shouldn't let it bolt, you know, bend or flex, which is going to keep it together. But just as easy as we can, we'll get out of here. Rock crawlers are not anything that, where you're like, oh, it's done. It's like, it's done-ish.
Yep.
Because I had that pole on it was literally just for moving stuff around.
Yeah.
And then I came down here and somebody said, is that an off-road tow truck? And I was like, no. Give me a minute. The biggest motivation that I had to making this truck work was everyone telling me it couldn't. Like I said, it's been such a fun truck because I mean, all the, like the going out welding the chains back on the motor mounts.
Oh yeah, in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Just so many memories, man.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like everybody's like, oh, just put a new cab on it or paint it or change it. It's like, no, this truck has been around for so long between us and friends and stuff like that. Like,
Yep.
so many things have happened, so many good times, so many that you can't change it. You can't just throw some paint on it and do this. No, like this is a great truck. I love this thing. But anyway, there it is. This one isn't going anywhere and is never going anywhere. If I do build another one, this one's gonna sit outside. I'm still gonna drive it. I'm never getting rid of this rig. Like, I can't. Like, if I build another one, this will go back to Craig. It's not going anywhere.
I'll buy it back.
But anyway, like I said, I wanted to throw a little backstory. Everybody asked me, where did the truck come from? There it is. That's where the truck came from. Craig. Do you want to come say hi? Come here. Come here. Say hi.
Hi.